Back on the road for the Wisconsin Badgers as we turn the calendar to November. The Badgers making their first trip out to Rutgers since 2014. First time the programs have met, period, in 3 years. We'll check out some of the highlights from Saturday's game between the Badgers and the Scarlet Knights. On today's player portion of the program, we'll focus on the secondary, a veteran Collin Wilder, one of the team leaders, and a young man with a very promising future who's already helping the team in areas that maybe you and I don't see all that much. His name is Max Lofy, and we'll have our weekly conversation with head coach Paul Chryst, all coming up on today's edition of the Badgers Sports Report.
Pryor tight to the left, works with the gun, takes hand off Malusi, angles left to the 10, Malusi to the 5, Malusi to the end zone, touchdown Wisconsin. Chaz Malusi from 14 yards away as the Badgers cash in off the turnover for the game's first points. Isaiah Pacheco is the running back. Federal wants to throw, hit as he throws, a floater, intercepted. Caesar Williams at the 30, he's gone, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Wisconsin. Pressure on the quarterback, bad throw, added up, 6 more on the board for the Wisconsin Badgers. Mertz in the shotgun, Shipper to his right, Graham takes the snap, back to throw, under pressure, deep ball, left side, hangs up, it's caught by Kendrick Pryor, touchdown Wisconsin. What a pass, what a catch, and the Badgers are in again in the final minute of the first half. They'll go inverted wishbone with Chanel and Jack Eschenbach, and the give goes to Braylon Allen, bouncing it left, he's in, touchdown Wisconsin. Nothing up the middle, he said that's fine, I'll bounce it, and Braylon Allen is in, make it 37-3 Wisconsin. Benedetto in motion to the right, hand off Jackson, Aker to the 15, Aker the 10, Aker the 5, touchdown Wisconsin, hello Jackson Aker. Young man from Verona takes it to the end zone, and it's 51-3 Wisconsin. Everybody involved here today for Wisconsin in an absolute beatdown. The Badgers are putting on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Play fake, Mertz, back to throw, lines up. He's a deep right side, DK got it. Touchdown, Wisconsin! Met behind the line of scrimmage and thrown down by Leo Chanel. Touchdown, Wisconsin! Kendrick Pryor! Mertz floats it deep left side, dropped it in the bucket. There is a big, big win for the Wisconsin Badgers.
The Badger Sports Report with Paul Chryst is presented by UW Health, the healthcare team for the Badgers. Learn more at uwsportsmedicine.org. And is brought to you by the Construction Business Group, Wisconsin operating engineers and respected contractors. BuildingWisconsinTogether.com.
When you've been injured, you need the hometown team on your side. Trust us to get you back in the game. Call Wisconsin's own Gruber Loftus, proud partner of Wisconsin Badger Athletics. One call, that's all.
You'll hear things like, you're gonna need to see a specialist.
That what you have is serious, like really serious.
And then you meet them, your medical team.
With research and clinical trials and new treatments.
With better procedures that lead to better results.
Then it hits you, you're gonna be okay.
UW Health. Remarkable medicine. Remarkable care.
Hard work, sweat, knowledge in your own 2 hands. These are the tools that build Wisconsin. Leave your mark on the real world with zero debt and higher pay. All from day one. It's time to do work that works for you. Learn more at buildingwisconsintogether.com.
On this game day, Good Foods Guacamole would like to salute all you players, no matter what you seem to be playing. You, sir, are a winner. You, ma'am, triumphant, and thumbs up to whatever it is you're doing. So let's hoist a guac-laden chip to all you players out there. Good Foods Guac, made from the freshest avocado and the cleanest ingredients. So here's to all the players and whatever game it is they're trying to play. Game day is Guac Day. Good Foods Guac.
Injured? You need a team you can trust. Call Gruber Loftus today, serving the people of Wisconsin for over 30 years. Gruber's offices, a proud partner of Wisconsin Badger Athletics. One call, that's all.
We talked a fair amount this season about the offensive line, and early in the year, one of the storylines was the rotation that this team had going for it with the interior three coming in. You see less of that now as the season has moved along, but Paul, I know when we discussed it, you talked about what's good about it, what are challenges about it, but it maybe has come in handy when you look back at, the Iowa game here recently where Michael Furtney had to step in. There's a payoff there with some of these guys who got in the rotation early in the season.
No doubt about it. And it was one of those where we kind of found out later in the week that Seltz wasn't going to be able to play. And Furt not only had been practicing that, but like you said, has had valuable game reps. And so therefore, when you do get an opportunity, it's not like, oh, what's it going to be like? And, maybe I just played a handful of snaps here and a handful there. And I think that's truly is one of the reasons why you do that. It goes back and, no one should be on the field if they're not ready and if they can't contribute. And certainly, felt like we had a number of guys that could do that, Furt being one of those. And certainly when it gets to be like it was against Iowa where, all right, need you to start and go play, I think that there's no question that would help a guy and being able to draw on the experiences he's had.
We talk a lot about how Coach Rudolph, Joe Rudolph, really values versatility, and the first name that probably comes to mind where some fans is someone like a Cormac Sampson who can play all along the offensive line, can be a tight end. Guys like that, boy, the value, it's hard to overstate, isn't it?
It really is valuable, and especially as you go deeper into the season, and the ability for guys to be able to play. You still want to get, your top players on the field, and certainly, Cormac's got a combination of, one, he's smart enough to do it, but two, there's a reason why you like having him out there. He's athletic, he's powerful, and I think he's got a good disposition about himself. And Tanner Bortolini's the same. That's kind of, there's a poise to him that I think is helpful. So if they are put into maybe a little different spot, they can handle it and we can still be successful.
Yeah, you mentioned Bortolini. He had to jump in at center last year because of an injury, and now we see him over at right tackle. Probably just another example of what you just talked about. They know what's going on. They don't make it bigger than it is. They just go play.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it. And I think it's also easier said than done, and I think that's where it is, helpful that they've had not only practice reps, but they get game reps. They get, good reps against our defense, which is as good a defense as you're going to face. And so I think there's a number of different ways where the guy can truly test himself, and through that testing himself and practicing, you're going to build some confidence in it. And you go back, I don't care what season or how many years back you go, you're going to need more than, in the offensive line, you're going to need more than 5. And that's why you appreciate all that the kids are doing to give us a chance for the whole offense and for the team to be successful.
A couple of guys we probably haven't talked about a ton are your tackles, Logan Bruss and Tyler Beach. Well documented. They were limited in fall camp, which is never a great thing.
Right.
And somebody like Tyler, who was a right tackle last year, switching over to left tackle. How have things progressed for those guys? I know Bruss missed a couple games, but back in the fold, which has been really helpful today.
Yeah, it has been helpful, and you never take them for granted, but you are very grateful that you have them. And like you said, it's never a good thing when you're missing time, and especially camp. There's so much valuable work that comes in, and I think it took, really, quite honestly, it took them both a little bit to kind of get into the groove and find their rhythm. And I think now, Brusser's back, and I think it's been good. He's been able to stack it and have good practice days, and the same with Beecher. And those two are so important to us. And if we're going to be the best we can be, we're going to need a lot. We expect a lot out of them, but for good reason. They're capable of giving us a lot. And as you get tested every week, and it's a little different test. It's a different challenge each week, and they're up for it. And I think that's where the experience helps. They've gone against really good players in the past, and they know what it looks like to go against good players and what you have to do to prepare to play it. And I think they've been helpful for the other guys. Seltz isn't young, but the other younger players, it's a good mix, and those two are invaluable.
I remember you talking there a moment ago about the value of camp, and I think somebody asked you this back in this year's fall camp, and you were going back to your day with the Chargers, I believe, where you were talking to a veteran, like a guy 10 plus years, say, what do you need? I'd like to circle back to that because I think the answer might surprise some folks out there.
Yeah, it was Roman Fortin, and Fort was in his 14th year. And back then it was the talk. We played 5 preseason games, you know, and it was a longer training camp, and there was kind of talk of, I wonder how many preseason games you need. So I just had a good conversation with Fort. He was really smart guy. I said, Fort, like, what do you need? What would you like to have? He goes, no question. I need the first week is just getting back into playing. I want to be able to snap the ball and get my feet underneath me and start to get my punch time. He goes, the second week I really want to just be able to practice, you know, and just start to play again. He goes, the third week then, he goes, I want to start to feel the game coming. And he goes, I'd like to have a preseason game and play, you know, 3-4 series. And then he says, then I could go the next week and I'd like to have, you know, where I could play a half, go in the halftime and come out the second half. He goes, if I've got that, then I feel like I'm ready. And so here's a guy that's 14th year in the NFL, whether he played 4 or 5 years in college, you're talking about 18, 19 years, played high school, and we've got our guys right now, and so it tells me a number of things. One, you can't get bored with the little details. You know, it's still so important, just the stance and the first step. And then 2, you know, he's talking about 4 weeks and preseason games to get ready for a season, and here we cram it into this, and so you just know, okay, there's a challenge, but you can't get bored and you can't get ahead of it too much. It was that'll always stick with me.
You find out probably in that way, among others, who really loves the game and is willing to put in all the work that's required.
Oh, you do, right? And yet he's still there. Like most veterans, this is the minimum that I need, you know. And he was not one to complain about it. And I'm thinking, well, our minimum's a lot different, you know. And are we really doing them justice? But I think those days have gone, you know. But it's it is. There's so much that goes into it, but they want to put that time in. I really do believe it. They want to be as good as they can be, and they want to make sure that they're prepared and ready for it.
Yeah, it's a heck of a story. Like I said, I think it's an answer that will surprise some of you out there, I would believe. We'll take a break. We have more to come as we continue with this week's edition of the Badger Sports Report.
We believe in education. We believe in public schools. At WEA Member Benefits, we believe in helping Wisconsin public school employees and their families achieve their financial goals by providing personal insurance, retirement and investment, and financial planning programs that are designed specifically for the education community. WEABenefits.com.
My favorite breakfast is Odyssey yogurt. I asked Mommy where it comes from, and she took me to a dairy farm to learn all about milk and, most importantly, cows. Wisconsin cows are definitely the happiest, which means they make the tastiest yogurt. My favorite is blueberry. What's your flavor? Support your local farmers. EIEI Odyssey.
Like any number of programs, Wisconsin prides itself on leaders, not just coaches, but guys who are upperclassmen. Maybe sometimes they could be younger too, who just know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and they perform at a high level on the field. That's Collin Wilder. I think that's one thing fans who follow this team closely understand about you now, because you are a straight shooter. If things are going really well or they're not. Have you always been that way?
I think I try to be, at least. You know, there's times during the season where, I mean, like, what else can you say? What else is there need? What else can you say? What excuses can you make for this? There's none. There's none. You can't make any excuses for some of the stuff that we've had going on this year. So, you know, I try to be as real and as genuine as possible, and you know, I'm just grateful to, you know, be a part of this team and do what's necessary that's needed out of me.
This defense, again, is among the best in the country. I say again because that has been the case for several years. Beyond the obvious of you and your teammates are really good at playing the game, what else is involved? I mean, there's a lot of teams that have a lot of talent, but maybe aren't as good as you guys. Well, what's the X factor, you think?
I think it's Coach Leonard. Personally, I think he's like Bruce Wayne. I think he's like Batman. I mean, I was telling some reporters after the game last week, I really look forward to every single week on Mondays. You know, because there's always a challenging offense that we're going to face week in, week out. And I'm always coming on Mondays excited to see what his game plan is, because he always finds a way to make a fantastic game plan. he's definitely the best in the game. To me, the smartest coach that I've ever been around. So I mean, I'm just glad we have Batman on our side.
Nothing like Coach Batman, right?
Yeah.
So you guys have got the nicknames down there. You've got I don't know, is John Torchio, is he still the jewelry thief?
Oh yeah. We still throw that name around the room. Absolutely.
That was cool. I mean, we would think of certain games where you might need 3 safeties out there, and you had Torch out there. Obviously, Travion Blaylock as well. But again, John Torchio is a name that some fans are familiar with, but all you guys are knowing what he can do day in and day out, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he came in here as a walk-on. He gave up several scholarships at other schools to come here and walk on and play, and that just shows how much this program means to him. And you can tell with the way that he carries himself and where he's gotten himself up, through the depth chart throughout the years, and he's stepped up when he's needed to step up. And I think more and more fans are going to start to recognize his name as time goes on.
We get to the leadership topic here, and I've given you a couple questions about that already. When you first arrived, who did you look up to?
Definitely Chryst, Texas guy, just like myself. And this guy he loves ball, a very hardworking guy, but the way he carried himself, I mean, one of the biggest things about him that I think attracted so many players to follow his lead was his ability to be so genuine. And that's something that I really looked up to, something that I wanted to eventually produce whenever my voice mattered. Because that's really the biggest thing that you can have is when people are starting to listen to you, is to be genuine, to be honest. Because the worst thing that can happen is that, you start to be someone you're not when people are listening to you, and then your actions don't reflect what your words are, and then that's how either you lead the team down the wrong path or you're leading guys down the wrong path, and that's not the right way to go.
So your eyes lit up when you heard the news that he was going to be coming back here, Chris, and just in a player development, kind of figuring things out. But anytime a guy like him is around, it's a good day, right?
Oh yeah. There was one game because he used to always talk to the team at the hotel when he was here. He would be the one to talk to the team before we ate dinner. And there was one game this year. We didn't know that he was in town, but he walked in during the time that somebody was going to come talk, before dinner. And he walked in and he had, we're like, it felt like old times. And I think he missed doing that too, because he ended up talking to us, and you could feel the passion in his voice.
We talked, I think it was probably during training camp, Collin, about, the process where you decided to come back for another year. Just listening to you now, I get the impression that you're embracing every day. Like, you've fallen in love with the university, fallen in love with Madison, that as much as you're focused on, okay, let's get better today, let's do what we can to win the game on Saturday, you're taking everything in. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. I mean, this was the best decision that I've ever made in my life to come here. I absolutely love the people here. I love the culture that not only this program brings, but this whole university brings. I'm just grateful to be a part of this program, and I want to represent this program as best as I possibly can. And that was a huge factor in coming back. I love coming in this building every day, being with these guys. So I definitely don't want to take a moment for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't take guys like this for granted either. Pretty special player, pretty special guy, Collin Wilder. And he's from Texas, so there's a lot of good guys from Texas, right?
Absolutely. we like to be proud of where we come from.
Absolutely,
in Texas, so.
You should. We will take a break. We have more to come as we continue with the Badger Sports Report.
Compeer Financial has always been there for our clients and communities in any situation, and our support continues today as our clients work relentlessly to feed, clothe, and fuel the world. Compeer is proud to continue our strong commitment to our clients, the rural communities where they live, and to agriculture. We're here to help meet the financial needs of rural America, and we'll navigate through this together.
You'll hear things like, you're gonna need to see a specialist.
That what you have is serious, like really serious.
And then you meet them, your medical team.
With research and clinical trials and new treatments.
With better procedures that lead to better results.
Then it hits you, you're gonna be okay.
UW Health. Remarkable medicine. Remarkable care.
We say this quite a bit, and it's worth bringing up again that on Saturdays, in the case of football, you watch the guys out there perform, but there's so much more that goes into it. There are guys on the scout team who do a great job of preparing players, and eventually those scout teamers, you're going to see them a lot on Saturday, and that includes Max Lofy. And Max, your scout team quarterback for the game against Army here recently. What was that like? A position that is pretty different for you, right? Even back to your high school days, but you look like you had some fun with it.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. You know, they told me they needed a guy to come in and kind of simulate their offense, and they gave me the red jersey for offense. I said, all right, might as well do it, you feel me? So I tried to give my team the best look I could, and it worked out a little bit.
So we were talking before we started rolling the cameras here that you did not play quarterback really at all in high school, or maybe you would jump in for a play or two, that was it?
Yeah, very little to no experience, I'll say that, at quarterback.
I know fans are going to get to see you make some plays here as your career continues to progress. How in the defensive backfield, how has that gone for you, and where do you see yourself as a safety, as a corner, wherever the coaches need be? How do you view that?
It's been a little experimental. You know, I kind of bounced around safety, corner, and I'm kind of really trying to hone in on that nickel position. It's something that I've been working with Coach Leonard a lot and Coach Poteet. So just kind of try and find a fit for me in the defense, and whether that may be safety or nickel, I'm cool with it, whatever.
I know, Coach. I talked with Coach Leonard. He's really excited about you and what you can bring. I would imagine you're aware of that. But when you hear that, that's, you know, when you're in the grind of a season, going through the practices, and when you hear that kind of praise from a coach, would I be right in thinking that goes a long way in getting you through the next day, and you think about what the future could hold for you?
It definitely does. You know, it gives a sense of confidence, kind of, you know, that the work that you put in is kind of being noticed, and it's cool to see the coaches that you put trust in kind of have reciprocating feelings. So.
Sure. Now, we looked at your bio. You have some state track championship experience in your high school days in Colorado. So where do you match up? You know, you got to be one of the fastest guys on this team, right? I'm sure you guys talk about it.
I don't know. It's close. KP fast. Garendo's fast. You got a couple of Blazers, but I try and keep up in the summertime and do our sprints. I don't do too bad.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, from Colorado, but there is a connection to the state of Wisconsin, right? Your dad played a little ball at UW-Platteville?
Yeah, he played baseball there. Shout out UW-Platteville. I went back there a couple times whenever I see some family and stuff. But yeah. He's from Platteville. My mom's from Monroe. So.
Oh, okay. So there's the connection there. So coming to Wisconsin, we always wonder Colorado, you've got a lot of options, but Wisconsin was always something that was a school that was really big on your radar then?
It was, yeah. I grew up Badger fan, Packer fan, so I got some family here too, so it kind of made sense for me.
Final topic here. They've always taken great pride in leadership from some of the older players. I've heard a lot of great things about Faion Hicks, about, you know, probably across the board, Collin, Caesar Williams, that group. What kind of things have you picked up just either listening to those guys talk or watching them work every day that's going to help you moving forward?
I'd say being consistent in what you do and having the words to match that. You know, they're the type of guys who they'll go out, handle their business day in, day out, and all they're going to do is ask for you to do the same. They'll never ask you to do anything supernatural or do anything that they won't do. They just ask you to do your job day in, day out, get good work in, and stay accountable. So.
Remember the name, Max Lofy. It's going to be fun to watch here moving forward. Ask the Badgers defense on what that was like trying to defend him in that triple option in the Army game. I think they have a lot of really good things to say. We'll take a break. We have more to come as we continue on the Badgers Sports Report.
Hard work, sweat, knowledge in your own two hands. These are the tools that build Wisconsin. Leave your mark on the real world with zero debt and higher pay. All from day one. It's time to do work that works for you. Learn more at buildingwisconsintogether.com.
On this game day, Good Foods Guacamole would like to salute all you players, no matter what you seem to be playing. You, sir, are a winner. You, ma'am, triumphant, and thumbs up to whatever it is you're doing. So let's hoist a guac-laden chip to all you players out there. Good Foods Guac, made from the freshest avocado and the cleanest ingredients. So here's to all the players and whatever game it is they're trying to play. Game day is Guac Day. Good Foods Guac.
The Badger Sports Report with Paul Chryst is presented by UW Health, the healthcare team for the Badgers. Learn more at uwsportsmedicine.org. And is brought to you by the Construction Business Group, Wisconsin operating engineers and respected contractors. BuildingWisconsinTogether.com.
We thank Collin Wilder and Max Lofy for joining us on this week's edition of the Badgers Sports Report. The Badgers return home for the next 2 games. First up, the Northwestern Wildcats this Saturday at Camp Randall Stadium. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for watching.
This has been a presentation from Learfield.
You'll hear things like, you're gonna need to see a specialist.
That what you have is serious, like really serious.
And then you meet them, your medical team.
With research and clinical trials and new treatments.
With better procedures that lead to better results.
Then it hits you, you're gonna be okay.
UW Health. Remarkable medicine. Remarkable care.
We believe in education. We believe in public schools. At WEA Member Benefits, we believe in helping Wisconsin public school employees and their families achieve their financial goals by providing personal insurance, retirement and investment, and financial planning programs that are designed specifically for the education community. WEABenefits.com.
My favorite breakfast is Odyssey yogurt. I asked Mommy where it comes from, and she took me to a dairy farm to learn all about milk and, most importantly, cows. Wisconsin cows are definitely the happiest, which means they make the tastiest yogurt. My favorite is blueberry. What's your flavor? Support your local farmers. EIEI Odyssey.